it either would destroy you or you'd welcome it. I don't know.
Well, so far I'm loving it. I'm loving the opportunity to get out there. This morning I was out talking to some senior citizens about how to avoid becoming victims of scam. And it's just really wonderful to sit down there and see and educate people so that they don't enter into the criminal justice system.
Right.
That's part of the joy that you get.
What do you do for fun?
I think you asked me that question last time, Mark.
I did, and you struggle with it then too.
Yeah, I do this for fun. I do this for joy. I do this for personal fulfillment. I don't know that I spend time with family.
Okay.
I spend time with my mom, who I care for and adore dearly. Every once in a long, long while, I might be able to catch up with a dear old friends.
Okay. If asked to give a presentation on a random topic, if somebody said, right now, I need you to give a presentation to a group in the next room, what topic could you do with, just walk out there and do 30 minutes of?
Oh, I could do a fair amount of those. I could do the opioid crisis. I could sit down there and talk about senior citizens and how to avoid scams. I could sit down there and talk about our criminal justice system and how it has changed over the course of time and for the better.
What topics couldn't you do?
Things related to math are not my strong suit. I'm not sure who would want to listen to a lecture about math, but that would not be my strong suit.
There are people. So Matt, that's why you didn't give statistics.
Interestingly enough, statistics I can do because I actually was a economics major, and statistics was was where I did my focus. So that I got, but math, not so much.
What would you like to be better at?
I would like to one day be better at life-work balance. It is not my strong suit. In fact, I speak to some of my younger attorneys in my office when I talk to them about what their life should, especially when I hire them and tell them I want them to make their job the focus of their work. But I also would let them know that I recognize that I have never had good life-work balance. And I recognize that as a weakness of mine, but perhaps my weakness is for the betterment of the community in some ways.
Yeah, and if you've got to have a weakness that benefits people is good. And I see it with a lot of people in leadership positions I have to have people under may say, well, I can't put the commitment in you do, and they kind of hold it against you. And I don't expect them to do what I do. Right. I don't expect anybody to do anything more than be the best person they can be. Okay. And I told somebody the other day, I said, I'm not comparing you to me or anyone else. I know you can do better because I've seen you do better. I'm comparing you to you.
You want the best out of them. It's like that lecture your mom or dad or significant parent might have given to you as a child where they said, I don't expect you to get an A+. I want you to do the very best that you're capable of doing. The best
that you're capable of. And that's all you can expect from anybody.
Very true.
What quirks do you have?
I kind of demand a lot of people. I am by nature, however, a very giving person. So I will help people get to whatever point they need to accomplish their goal. I like being there to help. One of my most entertaining parts of the job was one day, this last year, was one day going upstairs, and I was talking to one of my assistant DAs, and he had told me that Mondays we do list days, which means maybe 80 or so cases are listed, sometimes per attorney. And he had said he didn't expect to be there, but he was having a procedure, and he anticipated being there maybe the following day. And I said, you're having this procedure, that's going to mean you're going to be out for a couple weeks. And he went, and asked him to check with his doctor. He did. He came back, and he said, oh my gosh, you're right. I need to find somebody to cover my list. And I said, no, I will cover your list. And so it's days like that where I get to sometimes not only lead the office, but go up and do the hard work of being a prosecutor that really give me joy. Right. It's days like where you get to speak with family members of victims who have lost a family member to either the opioid crisis or to a homicide, where you get to say, we are able to prove and get enough evidence to charge an individual, and we will bring you justice. It's days like that which, when you go home, you realize you did a good job in the office, and it brings you inner satisfaction.
What's the longest consecutively you've ever been in the office without going home?
I have been in the office for probably 3 days, 3 full days at one time.
3 days?
3 full days. During the course of wiretap investigations, sometimes you just kind of take a nap on the couch sometimes, and in the middle of a trial.
So you guys just hunker down, make a tent city there in the middle?
You know what? It is not the usual, but it sometimes does happen. It's happened when I was literally in the middle of trial, where I was also running a long-term wiretap investigation involving a violent drug trafficking gang, where I had a report due to a judge where the report was about 300 pages. So during the night, I worked on the report, and during the day, I was in trial on another case. So that took some time, but you know what? It was, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed pushing the limits to show what we are capable of.
But I bet no photos are allowed.
No photos are allowed under those circumstances. I agree.
On day 3?
No photos are allowed under those circumstances. You get a little punch drunk by day 3.
Do you now when you're at the office like that? What's the longest you've ever stayed awake at the office consecutively?
Usually I'll go, like, if you end up staying there throughout the night. If it's an emergency, you stay awake. You stay awake until the body somehow fights through it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're exhausted and it doesn't matter, you down another cup of coffee and you rally and you can shut your eyes for a second. And
that happens in emergency services. You just hit a groove rallies. And you're like, oh my God, I feel better than ever. I feel great. And then sometime whenever the thing ends, you go sleep for like 12 hours or 14 hours or something.
Yep. You crash. You literally crash.
Yeah. And
you know what that's like, for heaven's sakes. You've experienced that probably even more so than I.
I'm stuck on it. Well, if you do too much, it doesn't go away. And you become on this like astronaut 3-day sleep schedule. But then you get older and you can't do it as much, and you have to have like, you don't sleep a lot, but then you have days where you have to crash and you have to get 10 hours in a day, and you might not sleep more than a couple hours a night all week, and then you have to have like a day. And if something happens on that day, you're just dead. You go do it, but you're dead. And it's worse as you get older. What's a skill you don't have that you'd love to master?
Skill I don't have. I love
like salsa dancing.
Seeing into the future. That'd be amazing.
Why would you want to see the future? That could be bad.
No. You could figure out how to improve things for everybody.
Or you could just really mess everything up.
Well, that would be horrendous.
Like every movie about time travel.
I know. It would be fascinating to be able to see into the future, to how to prevent incidents of bad.
But if you could, since we're talking time travel, if you could reach out to yourself at any point in your life and tell yourself any message, what age would you call yourself at, and what would you tell yourself?
I don't know that I could pick an age where I would call myself. I would tell myself probably what I already know to be true, which is you got to enjoy the moment. You got to enjoy the moment. So I would keep reminding myself of that. So every single day, instead of waiting to see what is going to be happening, instead of waiting to see what happens in 5 months, 6 months, 3 months, sit down there and really appreciate today for what it is.
But don't date that guy, skip him. Let's do over. Don't eat that brisket. It's been sitting out too long. Those are the kinds of important calls I would make. Dating and brisket calls.
I love it.
You're term limited in your job.
And limited to 2 terms.
2 terms.
2 elected
which
terms.
is 8 years.
Yes. Which
isn't as limited as it sounds. I mean, that sounds like enough to get enough. That's 8 years. That's you could get a lot done in 8 years. I mean,
you can get a lot done in 8 years. The interesting part is I've been being a prosecutor for over 25 years, and it's what I love. It's what is in my blood. It's what I feel like I would like to always show commitment to.
Do you have any pets?
Oh gosh, no, they would not survive.
I know. That's where I was going with that.
I adore animals, but pets, I don't know how I would be successful at
goldfish floating upside down.
Yeah, I don't want to mistreat animals, and therefore
plants.
I have a plant in the office. It's an I have a couple orchids. They only require water once a week. So.
I saw you as like a cactus kind of person.
No, it's a little too prickly for me. I like the orchids, a shot glass full of water, and they're good to go. An ice cube, they're happy as clams.
I didn't know orchids required that little maintenance.
Exactly. I'll bring you one next time.
What was the running joke? I had a plastic plant in the office, and where I sat it in the window with a mirror under it as the base, the sun reflected up too much and melted it. So I killed a plastic plant. Killed a plastic plant. If you had a pet, what would you have?
I would probably have a dog.
A dog? What kind?
I love Chesapeake Bay Retrievers.
Okay, it's very specific. I've always thought that a dog-cat combination was good because I think a
dog and a kitten would be ideal.
Because they can wrangle each other,
That's true.
And it gives them some companionship.
Dog and a little kitten together, that would be fun.
The opioid crisis is getting worse, or it's not getting better. It's not getting. You think it's getting better?
Well, I think it depends on where you are. If you look at, I'll tell you that if you look at different areas, and depending on how they've handled the situation, when the community pulls together, it really seems to make a difference. We have in Delaware County something called the Heroin Task Force, and I think you and I spoke about this briefly last time.
Yeah.
Our task force has really done some great innovative things with respect to training people on administering Narcan. We've gone out into the communities and literally have handed out Narcan after providing trainings to people in areas which are considered hot spots, if you will. Training people to become certified residential specialists, where they themselves, who have been individuals who are in sustained recovery, help those who are currently in the middle of this crisis bridge the gap and enter into treatment programs, where we've started programs where instead of where we have identified individuals who are in the criminal justice system due to the opioid crisis, involved in non-violent offenses, where instead of sending them to jail, we're able to send them directly to treatment. Those kinds of things, in my mind, really do make a difference. In 2016, Delaware County's opioid overdose rate went up, just like all our surrounding counties did, but our numbers went up by 2% as opposed to double digits, which was, I think, our surrounding counties.
Which everybody else was.
In 2017, our numbers were at the height. In 2018, for the very first time since this crisis started, we saw a drop in overdose deaths. Not only drug overdose deaths, but we saw a significant drop in opioid overdose deaths. I think we were up to near a 27% drop in opioid overdose deaths. Which
double digits.
Is wonderful. I think since the start of our police officers are administering Narcan to people, and since the start of providing them with Narcan, and all of them are armed with it, and I literally use the word armed with it because it is something that is as important to them as every other tool that they have as law enforcement officers.
And it's very important.